How much in Airsoft will £100 get you? If you think about your average gas blowback pistol, if you wanted a WE pistol, you're going to be spending around £100. And you're not getting anything too interesting. You're not getting trades unless you buy one from Asia that's got a specific one with trademarks. You could get a KJW, most of which aren't going to have trademarks. A TM is going to cost you much more than that, 130, 40, 50, 60. But £100, what could £100 get you? I think a good example of very good Airsoft value is the brand new ASG / KJW P09 duty, which for £100 flat, plus postage of course, from Airsoft Armory is exceptional value really, considering, as you can see, it comes in a hard case. Really nice packaging. It even has ASG licensing, which means it has trademarks. So again, £100, absolute bargain. Anyway, let's get into it. Comes in this cardboard sleeve, very similar to the Tokyo Marui Mark 23 non-blowback. Interestingly, there isn't any mention of KJ Works on the box at all. ASG have just sort of taken over and put all their own stuff on it. One side of the box is in English, other side is all in French, and you've got your information there. Usual kind of rebrand stuff, a little bit of information about the CZ, whatever licensing. Also note that there's a little barcode for a US version here, so I assume it's going to be sold in America at some point. Speaking of different places sold, there's an Asia version of this gun which doesn't come with the case or anything like that. I think ASG haven't had too much to do with it, and that's only been for sale over the last couple of days, I think. I'm not even sure if it's actually been released. I'm pretty sure it has actually, and that's the Asia version that comes with full trademarks but doesn't come with the nice packaging, whereas this European version that's been available for a few weeks has nicer packaging and extras that a skirmisher will definitely appreciate. Someone that likes, the guns come with some extras. But it doesn't have completely realistic trademarks. It's got quite a few good ones. But anyway, comes with this plastic case. It's not amazing quality or anything, but considering it comes free with the gun, it's better than some of the ones that like Umarex and people give away with their guns. Held together by these two tabs. And inside you can find it's very nicely formed actually to the pistol, which was nice to see. You see a lot of them that have just got that sort of eggshell stuff and the guns you can move loose inside it. But yeah, opening this up, it's a very impressive package, and it makes you feel like you're buying something more valuable and upmarket than what is essentially a near budget gun, £100. Anyway, you don't get a whole lot with it, which is maybe to make up for the fact that it comes with the case. You've got your manual, which again is very similar to a lot of the rebrand companies' idea of a manual. It's all about clear pictures on operation and stuff, which is nice. But as you can see, it's all aimed at kind of beginners, like people that have bought it and they don't know what they're doing with it. All this simple stuff in French and English, but it doesn't have what I really want in a manual, which is an exploded diagram. All that kind of thing that comes in the Japanese manuals. But this is very similar to what Cybergun and Umarex give away with their guns. It is more of a manual than just a book showing you how to take it apart and stuff. Which some people might like. If you're new to gas blowbacks, that might be useful. Anyway, it doesn't come with a whole lot. If you're used to TMs or whatever, and you're used to getting a little unjamming rod, a pack of BBs, all that warranty information, little followers to stop the slide locking back, all those nice little things, you don't get anything with this. It is literally the manual, the box, and the gun. As you can see, it's formed for the gun quite nicely. It means it doesn't move around at all in here, and there is space for you to keep a spare magazine. So the box will take the gun and 2 magazines. If you really wanted to, you could probably cut out that area and store another magazine. So you've got your whole kind of skirmish ready package in here. Anyway, box aside, my first impressions of the gun were really excellent for the price. Give you a good look over it. As you can see, it's got a decent number of trademarks, both realistic and a couple of unrealistic ones, but they're really on the other side of the gun. So you can see it's a replica of the CZ P09 duty gun, which is a larger version of the P07 that was released before it. Even though I still don't know whether to say CZ or CZ. I think CZ sounds more natural, to be honest. So that's what I'll use, even though I'm English. So they're both kind of CZ75 based guns, although really I think they qualify as their own gun in their own right, because the design is very different. You can tell it's kind of got the CZ heritage, the very small slide, the low bore axis, the controls. It's all similar, but yeah, I think it deserves recognition as its own separate design. So anyway, first impressions were very good. Very nice polymer for the lower. Definitely on par with like a TM or any other, plastic that is any kind of acceptable plastic. It's pretty nice. It's got quite smooth texture, but luckily it's got very rough stippling all around, so that's all right. The slide is indeed metal, which is nice. KJW are kind of known for making the cheaper, well, mid-range metal clones. They do make a few plastic guns, but this is one of theirs that is only made in a metal version. And it's worth noting that it's a very similar gun internally to their CZ75, which is kind of a hybrid design that uses the externals of the KSC/KWA system, combined with a new hop-up unit and slightly newer firing control, because I've owned the KWA CZ75 and it's not great. Not a big fan of it. The mechanism, the safety and everything really isn't designed properly. And I hate the KSC style hop-up as well, so it's nice that KJ are kind of innovated a little bit and made their own design. So anyway, yeah, polymer frame, metal slide. And as I said, first impressions are very good. It's nicely moulded, no bad seam lines, very slight one, but you get that on the real gun, so that's not really an issue at all. As you can see, it's got your nice big sort of full length rail there, rather than just a single rail notch like on my PX4 here. You have got a full length rail. Whilst I've got my PX4 in hand, let's talk about size, because this is kind of a lesser seen pistol. I don't think there's actually been an Airsoft replica of this made. There's been a few sort of BB guns, steel BB guns, but actual Airsoft one, this is the first. As you can see, it's the kind of profile is very similar to an XDM or a Springfield XD. It's very tall and thin. So it's a little bit slimmer than the PX4, but it's taller. One area that you definitely feel is slim is right here, kind of just before you get to the bulk of the slide. Very thin, nice to hold, very ergonomic pistol, I find anyway. I've always been a fan of the classic CZ feel. The way the safety and everything allows me to put my thumb up there. Very comfortable. Okay, so let's have a closer look at some of the features. If we start with the muzzle end, the brass barrel is very visible, easy to see. As you can see, there's a slight bit of damage to the barrel and almost the front sight, and this is actually where I managed to drop it, which I never really do, but I've been a little bit rougher with this pistol than I am with some of my sort of more collectible ones, because it's £100, I don't mind throwing it around a bit. I was kind of interested in how the finish was going to hold up, and it seems pretty good so far. So it's got quite a nice matte flat finish. You can see the recoil rod there, spring guide, and the front sight is actually dovetailed in, which leads me to believe real P07, P09 sights will fit. Apparently, CZ75 sights also fit these. Sorry, at least they'll fit the real P09. I'm not sure if they fit these or not. I'm sort of intrigued whether they would or not. But hopefully someone's going to come out with maybe some night sight options for this, because at the moment it's a very new gun and there really aren't any parts available. Okay, so rear sight is, as well as being dovetailed in, seems to be secured by that little hex key, that little Allen key, which is good, and is a single white dot, obviously single. I don't know why I said single, it's not like there's going to be 2 dots up front or anything. So sights are nice and clear, it's quite bright. You can see the interesting profile of the slide here. It's actually similar to the PX4 in the way that it's angled. You can see on the PX4 here, it's kind of got those flats that give the slide a less bulky profile, and it's got that, maybe a little bit more prominent on the Duty here. And gives it kind of an interesting look when you're looking down the sights, because the slide kind of gets thinner and thinner into nothing. But yeah, very sleek design overall, looks good. So you've got Duty, which is sort of printed on there. It's just cast in rather than engraved or anything, but nice enough. And the real gun does have that, so it's nice that it has that engraved. Stamped in, sorry. Got front cocking serrations on the slide, which aren't particularly grippy. It's got quite a smooth finish to the, I don't know if it's a powder coat or it's anodized or whatever, but the finish is very smooth, so actually getting a good grip on these is quite hard to actually get a proper grip. Got some nice trademarks there on the frame. Designed in Czech Republic. As you can see, there's a slight little scuff mark here where the frame has actually gone a bit shiny. Interestingly, the exact same mark is on the other side, so I'm not sure if this has come from the factory or whether it's, you know, rubbed, or whether someone at the shop I bought it stuck it in a holster or something and it's sort of rubbed. I'm not really sure exactly where that's come from, but it's nothing too bad. It's just where it's slightly scuffed and gone a bit light. Anyway, designed in Czech Republic. I'm pretty sure the real one has something like that written on it. Close enough. And you can see here the interesting profile of the slide to the frame, whereas usually you get sort of a thinner frame and then the larger slide sitting on top. The slide is a lot thinner and actually runs inside the frame on rails inside the frame. It's kind of a reverse design to the usual, where the slide would normally sort of overlap the frame, but in this instance it actually sits inside the frame, which you'll know if you've owned any CZs. As I said, you've got a nice full-length rail there, and I'm actually just going to go grab my flashlight laser thing, show you how well it fits. Okay, here it is with my replica M3 flashlight thing, which is a cheap kind of clone, but it's actually very good. Got it on eBay a very long time ago, and it's always my standard kind of torch when I'm testing model fit on a pistol. So if we take the PX4 that's only got one notch, it does fit on, but the front hangs over because it's quite a short rail, so it's not very secure on there. P09, just like the FM57 and similar guns that have got a proper full-length rail, slides right on, nice and secure, looks right at home on there as well. I really hope somebody makes a threaded outer barrel for this in the future. That'll make a really cool sort of tactical pistol. So anyway, yeah, should take any flashlight, accessory, laser you like, because it's a nice proper spec full-length rail. Moving back, you've got these pads of very rough stippling. You can see how much they sort of stick out from the frame there. It's like a little forest. Really sticks out, and they're very sharp. And the idea of those ones there is to sort of create some memory to keep your trigger finger in a safe position. So when you're not ready to shoot and you're not on the trigger, you sort of stick to that pad. It's on both sides. It doesn't really have any other purpose other than that. It just sort of acts as a bit of a finger rest. To know you're safe, you just sort of stick it on there. Not sure if it's really needed, but I suppose it adds a bit of uniqueness to the design. You don't see a whole lot of guns with a big pad of rough texture there. Below it, you've got a read manual before use, which again I believe the real one has. I haven't inspected it, pictures of it too well, but they look good enough. Certainly better than just a totally blank gun or totally fake trademarks. Talking of trademarks, you've got your CZ P09 there, and the little CZ trademark there, which looks pretty nice. Again, they're cast in rather than engraved, but that's what you expect for something at this price. Got quite a chunky, large chamber and ejection port area here. As you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit of wear on the outer barrel. That's always going to be expected of a metal gun. Unless you go get it Cerakoted or something very tough, the finish is always going to start to wear. And you get that on the real guns as well. Note that the chamber is metal. It's got a metal barrel chamber area, but it's not trademarked in any way. It's just blank there. It does use the short recoil system. I'm not sure if it's a Browning link or exactly what it is, but it does slightly drop when cycling because it is a locked breech design. Something interesting is that there aren't any 9x19 or no caliber markings on this gun at all, which doesn't seem particularly realistic. I think it's almost a requirement to have that at least stamped on the chamber, but doesn't feature that. Moving to the rear of the slide, you've got your usual place cocking serrations in addition to the ones at the front of the slide. You've also got a sort of mock pin holding the internals together, which isn't real. There isn't actually a pin going through there, it's just moulded in. Got a big fake extractor, which is moulded in. It's not a separate part like on some of the WE pistols, but it looks good enough. Not really an issue there. And unlike the front cocking serrations, these ones do have a certain amount of grip and are useful, although the very thin profile of the slide does make grasping it a little bit tricky. You're going to have to sort of get used to the design. Sitting on top of the slide is, of course, the rear sight, which is both dovetailed in and then screwed down to the top of the slide through the blowback unit. So it should be very secure. You see a lot of guns that a screw will unscrew or a dovetail will come loose and they'll just slide off when you're skirmishing, which won't be the case here because it's sort of held on two ways. And just like the front sight, they are dotted with these white dots, and it creates a very nice sight picture. Pretty much perfect, to be honest. Dots could be a little bit larger, like if you compare them to how big they are on the PX4. PX4, just a little clearer maybe, but these have the advantage of being square. The PX4 ones are a bit rounded and look a bit funny. These are very straightforward, square kind of target style sights. So yeah, very good sights overall. As I said, it'd be really nice if someone brought out some fiber optics or some tritium, something like that. Moving on to the controls on the frame, we've got a one-sided slide lock, which is also how you disassemble the gun. There you can see how it holds the slide open. Obviously, that's what it does. All works very smoothly, and of course locks open on an empty magazine. It's a very chunky design. If you're used to a normal 75 series, you've got well, not very small, but you've got quite small controls, and these have all been beefed up. They've also been flattened to keep the profile nice and slim. So that isn't an ambidextrous feature, but what is ambidextrous is the safety. The safety will only work once the hammer is back. No point in it being unsafe with the hammer down, really, because double action is its own kind of safety, because it's quite a hard pull. So that is an ambidextrous safety, as you can see. Red dot there to indicate whether it's ready to fire or not. Very nicely made. Everything on this feels very positive, solid, and well designed. Trademarks on this side are slightly less realistic. You've got a made in Taiwan, which is a shame, but not a huge deal. And one trademark that you only can really see in certain light is this little A little F and 6mm BB, that's a shame. I'm not sure why they needed to put that on. I'm not sure if it's for sale in Germany maybe. I think they have something like that. But seems a bit unnecessary. 6mm BB, who cares? It's an airsoft gun, you don't need to print the BB size. And you've got a tiny ASG right back there, which isn't too intrusive. That's alright really, I'm not too bothered with that. As you can see from a distance, you can barely see them. The focus is really on those nice realistic trademarks on the other side. So if you were ever going to use this in a film or something, or do a bit of filming with it, you're always going to want your camera facing this side, because this side is less realistic. As you can see, it's got quite a large squared off trigger card. Being square, it means it can take more of a variety of accessories. It fits this absolutely perfectly. My flashlight thing here. Trigger is actually plastic, feels like. Definitely feels like a polymer. Feels tough enough, but only time will obviously tell whether it holds up or not. The only reason I might question that is because the mainspring is so incredibly tough. I've never felt an airsoft pistol with the same strength of mainspring that this one has. In fact, I actually took out the spring and snipped a few coils off just to make that double action a little bit more manageable. That said, it's quite smooth. It's not too jerky or anything. And considering you're not going to be using double action all too much, it's a decent enough trigger pull. Talking about the trigger leads us to the hammer, which is, of course, metal. It feels like steel, it looks like steel, and it is magnetic, so it's either steel or a ferrous kind of alloy. Something with a bit of something ferrous in, some kind of iron content. But yeah, definitely seems tough enough. One thing to note is that you don't really want to cock this by thumb, because it's got a very short spur on it, which also isn't very serrated, so it's very easy to slip, and there is no half cock position, which means if you've got a gassed up magazine, I'm going to try and do this without hurting myself. If you get it to this far and then you slip, there is no half cock position to hold it in place. It'll simply fire. So I would not recommend cocking it by hand too often, because it is easy to accidentally let go and fire the gun. So don't go do that in the safe zone and take someone's eye out. Back of the gun's quite a neat design. Polymer, of course, lower, with a little metal sort of chassis. And underneath the hammer, you've just got your sort of normal TM style Allen key holding everything together. Magazine release is in the usual place. I actually thought this was plastic to begin with, but actually it is metal. It's a little bit loose when the magazine isn't in, but as soon as you click the magazine in, nice click here, it is solid. And that's a very good point to say about the gun overall, is unlike a lot of budget guns that rattle and the tolerances are quite poor, so you can hear quite vigorously shaking this, not a whole lot of noise is coming off of it, so the tolerances and everything seem very good. Grip is very long and thin. I'm not sure if you saw with my comparison here to the Beretta, but it is a longer pistol to accommodate the longer magazine. This is a 19 round magazine in real life, which is a lot of shots, and in this airsoft version it's a 25 capacity, I believe. So yeah, long slim grip, very comfortable, really nicely textured as well, very rough texturing I should say. If you've got very sensitive hands, these might cut it up a little bit. Like I showed you earlier with the other texturing, it stands up quite far off the frame, so you're definitely going to get a lot of grip with these. Note that the back strap is actually removable. You have to punch out this pin, which also releases the lanyard loop and the mainspring, but it is replaceable. However, none are included. That's the only negative thing about really what's included in the gun. It's very nice, it comes with a case and everything, but it does only come with one back strap, and the real ones aren't really available to buy, so you're a bit stuck with this one. So if you don't like it, you're a bit stuck with it. You've also got CZ trademarks on the grip, which look nice, those logos. and you've got a bit of texturing up the front and the back. So overall, very nice package, very grippy, very sort of tactile feeling. Definitely one of my favourite feeling pistols. Ergonomically, it's perfect, really, and looks very cool too. Very sort of aggressive. Magazine is pretty much just like it would come with any TM gas blowback pistol. Only thing that's really different is you've got trademark on the bottom there. You've got a silent fill valve, so you can hear. So no gas wastage. And it is annoyingly pinned. I don't like pinned magazines. I prefer a screw at the bottom, but it's pinned. Other than that, it's really just TM design. Pull the follower down, load your 25 BBs or so, and it's finished in sort of this slick, kind of slippery black finish, which a lot of real magazines are coated in, some kind of Teflon or shiny finish that allow it to slide in more smoothly. I think that covers most of the externals of the gun. As I said, I'm very impressed with this overall. Yeah, for an out-of-the-box £100 gun, externals are excellent.